No one's counting the Community Shield. Pep Guardiola's Manchester City have won nothing this season, quite something in contrast to what obviously he's achieved over recent times since making that move to Manchester City back in the 2016-2017 season. Interesting stuff from Bernardo Silva. This is what he had to say after that FA Cup defeat. And it's got people questioning about who maybe he's referring to. You learn a lot of new things in the bad moments. You learn new things, who you can go to war with, first of all, because it's in the bad moments that you see who the real ones are. So if we know who the real ones are, who are the false ones then, Nedum?
Who's he talking about?
That's a good question. That's a good question. And I think he's left that beautifully open-ended to where you can almost like figure it out for yourself. I think, realistically this season, the way that they've played in recent weeks hasn't been that bad. Obviously, it's not been as good as we've expected them to be, but he was in that middle third. And I think some players at that point maybe left. Maybe some players stopped being selected. Maybe some people, spend a bit of time on the sidelines. I'm not sure. But I think it's fair because what he says is something that probably everyone that's played before has seen. Because when you are winning, everybody has everything in common. But the moment you start losing is when you start to see the character of people. Because how do you want to get out of this situation? Are you with the mindset where we're going to work hard, we're going to stick together? Or does it start to become a little bit toxic? Do you start seeing like splits in the camp and so on? And for City, they're going through what pretty much every club has had to go through at some point. And I don't have any idea who he's talking about necessarily there. But, he's always fought for City and as have other people around him. I think the manager himself knows probably who he's talking about. And if it is a case of one or two people have been pulling in the wrong direction, which City have not had over the last 3, 4, 5 years, come summertime, we'll probably see some of those people leave and try and find clubs elsewhere. Because if you want to be successful, as we can see, people all have to be on the same page and get through those rough waters together and come out on the other side and potentially be successful.
Go on, Mario.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with Nedum says. And you're also going to have what's very important, when things don't go well, you don't always have straight shooters in the team. It doesn't mean with team, it's also at work, wherever you are. You're going to have people that talk about different players, but they don't say the right player they're talking about right in his face. And I think moments like that is going to happen. And I think that's why I said, prior to this, I said, he needs to really work on the team to get the dynamic back. Because if the dynamic is not there, and I think at the moment they don't have it. Like anybody that can watch the game of the way City plays, okay, he has the frame. We all know he's going to hold the ball. He's going to play it around, make you tired in a way so he can break through you. Okay, that is the way Pep likes to play. But there comes a moment that people don't really care anymore if they don't have the ball. So now it's going to be like players have to stand up because their wingers don't score and that many goals anymore like they used to. Prior to this, City was incredible. If you saw the wingers, sometimes you watch the wingers, you're like, are they wingers or are they strikers? Because they were always good for, double-figure numbers. Now, they don't score. They're not even crossing the ball. Doku, it's difficult for him. Savinho on the opposite side, it's nice, it looks quick, but it's not danger. And I think that is going to be one of the questions that what Silva drives through, because I can see the older ones are taking the responsibility in the sense of when it doesn't go well with the team, they will demand the ball. But it's now going to be the question to see if the younger ones can develop quicker and take strong responsibilities to themselves and making sure the team start ticking the way they want it to be.
They've had a lot of problems, Stevie, obviously. What I thought was interesting in that FA Cup final is when Phil Foden was introduced in the second half. This is a guy who was the Premier League Player of the Year just 12 months ago.
Yep.
And there was no sense of, right, here comes Foden, he's going to change things up, he's going to mix it up, he's going to be the difference maker here in this final where you want your stars to step up. And he didn't. He was anonymous, and this isn't just against him, but pretty much the whole City team were, because predictably you knew what was going to happen. How is that going to change next season with the same personnel around you and the same people in charge?
Well, it can't be the same personnel, and that's what the manager has to figure out, who he should know who Bernardo Silva's talking about. And the other way of putting it is players that he's talking about do not accept responsibility. They're the ones that don't look in the mirror.
Right.
That's the type of player he's talking about. And the only way that it'll change is you have to get rid of them. It's not all of a sudden you come back pre-season and everybody's back to normal and everybody's... No. When you get a character and you see a character like that, you get them out the door. Because if you don't get them out the door,
the resentment stays. If Bernardo Silva's saying that, you know those 3 or 4 of the other experienced guys know exactly who he's talking about and know who he's talking about. And if you don't get rid of them, then it affects the whole thing. So, as much as we're talking about who comes in and all the rest of it, you need to get rid of the people that Bernardo Silva are talking about, and as quickly as possible, so that you can then start afresh and get everybody together again. Because if you don't, you're never going to get them all together again.
Any names for us, Jules?
No, not more than Nedum. And to be fair, I didn't think the attitude was the problem on Saturday in that FA Cup defeat either. I didn't think it was. I think it was just a game where nothing went City's way at all, and that they can play another time. And Henderson gets sent off, and they scored the penalty, which was not a penalty, by the way. But still, do you know what I mean? I'm not sure on these. I think through the season, some attitudes have probably let the team down and the club down and the fans down.